Deconverted man. Today's meme is new atheist. What is a new atheist? Well, supposedly it's an atheist who dogmatically subscribes to Dawkins, Hitchens, Sam Harris, and or Lawrence Krauss as their sources of arguments and their authority on all matters, and asserts various different things about logic and or philosophy or God based on what one of these four people have said, and they just are really weak in their atheism because they haven't really thought it through, because they're just dogmatically adhering to what these people have said. So we can just dismiss the new atheists. They're not professional philosophers. They don't know anything. They're just scientists or journalists. Who cares? So let's identify the fallacies, and then I'll talk about why none of it matters. So first and foremost, ad hominem. Because you're attacking the person and not the argument. You're saying, oh, well, you just follow this person, therefore your argument's invalid. It's also irrelevant. Now, it's irrelevant because whoever they're getting this from is not the point. The point is the argument in and of itself. It's somewhat of a poisoning of the well because it's trying to make what they're saying invalid by saying, well, those people aren't really in the right profession. They can't talk about philosophy because they're not philosophizers. They're not people who understand philosophy, so they can't talk about it, and because you dogmatically adhere to them, you can't talk about it either. It's special knowledge, because how do you know that this person dogmatically follows X, Y, and Z people? So it's all of those things, and it's a straw man, and probably it's muddying the waters. It's a lot of fallacies combined. I've identified the ones that I'm really concerned with, and the potential fallacies that this could be, I'm just going to leave to the side for now, and you can try to deduce them on their own. Okay, so let me hammer this down, because I want to make sure that my points aren't missed by the theists that might watch this video, might listen to it, and disagree. Okay, identify a new atheist. That is to say, find me a living, breathing, talking new atheist. Find someone and show me that person's writings or videos, and show a direct link from what they have written or said to one of these four people. First, do that. Demonstrate that there is a new atheist. One! Just one! Demonstrate that it's a thing before asserting that I or anyone else is a new atheist. Because, again, this would be a special knowledge claim. You can't know where I'm getting my sources from, or if I'm getting my sources from anywhere. You can't know that. You would have to assert that. And that's all it is. How would you connect what I say? How would you do it? It's extraordinarily hard to do that, because none of anything I have, unless I quoted Hitchens directly, is going to link me to them. It's all my ideas by and large. Now, maybe some of them mirror or are similar to one of these four people, but you're going to be hard-pressed to show that it is the case that that's my source. In fact, I would say it's impossible to do that with a logically coherent argument, because you can't really do that. But maybe there's somebody on YouTube or somebody that's been blogging for a while who their writings and or video is so crystal clear that everything that they're saying is basically verbatim from one of these four people. And there would be a direct link. Now, if they were an honest person, they would just say, I'm getting all this from Dawkins, I'm getting all this from Hitchens, I'm getting it all from Harris, I'm getting it all from Cross, whatever. And they would cite their sources. And I strongly suspect that anything you found on YouTube or blogs that you could even try to use to show that this person was a new atheist, that they would cite their sources and say, I'm getting all this from this person or that person. So establishing that a new atheist is a thing is a Herculean task in and of itself. Then you have to show why it matters. You have to then demonstrate why it's not irrelevant. You have to show that for whatever reason, being a new atheist is a thing that should make us be skeptical of their position in and of itself. Because if you are unable to explain and demonstrate how those things connect, then your argument that or your assertion that they're a new atheist is simply irrelevant. It's simply an ad hominem. It just doesn't matter. And you need to demonstrate why it matters. And then finally, after doing both of those things, you still have to attack the arguments. Because you can't just say, well, I'm done. Okay, let's just say that you've identified a new atheist. Fine. Let's just say that you've found a way to demonstrate that this is then something we should be skeptical, independent of anything else. Just there being a new atheist makes it be that we already are skeptical about what they say. Fine. But we still have to then analyze what they have said and demonstrate the flaws in what they say. Because, see, it's not just enough to say this group is instantly somebody we should be skeptical because this, and this. That's all fine and good, but we still need to demonstrate more than that. It's not enough to just say that. You need deeper analysis. It requires effort to get there. I'll give an analogy. I don't like to do this, but it is a way to make things easier to understand. The KKK is a group of people who base their ideas on nothing more than fear-mongering and a dogmatic look at the Christian Bible in some cases. In some cases, they base their views just nothing more on dogmatic assertions and fear. They are a group we should be skeptical of because of those things. Having said that, what is one of their arguments independent of the fact that I have to already come in with skepticism on my radar? Because their argument has to be analyzed anyways. In this case, I have nothing to analyze because there are no arguments given from the KKK. This person is evil because I've said that this person is evil. It's just nothing but a dogmatic assertion. Okay, so I have to dismiss this claim completely. It's not even a matter of being skeptical. It's just I dismiss it because there's nothing to talk about. Now, I would love for that group to go away and never come back, as I'm sure many of us would love for that group to go away and never come back. But yet, it persists because people are susceptible to fear-mongering and believing in dogma. So coming in with this group is a group that we have to be skeptical of doesn't negate my burden to analyze whatever argument that they might put forward. In the case of this particular example, they don't have any argument. Maybe if I examined the Nazi regime, I would have to look through the books that they had, and their publications, and what their assertions were to really analyze it more in detail and show, okay, why this is wrong, etc. And not just wrong in the moral sense, but wrong logically speaking. And in fact, it's pretty easy to do that, at least with the Nazi thing. Their idea was flawed, genetically speaking. If they had been successful at having a large amount of population be this one particular type of people, the Aryan race, so everybody was this, one virus would wipe them all out, because you need genetic differences within your society to keep that society going. So from purely a genetic point of view, they were wrong. They were stupid to do this because one virus would have wiped them all out. And that's not superiority. That's inferiority. And you have to recognize the flaw in your system. You can't say it's a perfect system without demonstrating that it is a perfect system. So, therefore, it's an imperfect system, and it's seriously flawed, and here's a flaw. And that's why their arguments are flawed. So, yes, it's a group we should be skeptical of or not like going in, but that's not enough. We need to go further. So, if you are an individual that has in the past used New Atheism, or you're somebody that thinks it is a thing, or you're someone that's thinking about using it, don't. I've identified the logical fallacies of it here. It's a ad hominem, straw man, red herring, irrelevant, etc. It's a whole bunch of fallacies at once. Some of them I identified here. Others of them, like red herring, I think that might be a potential one. But at any rate, you have to demonstrate that it's a thing. You have to demonstrate why that matters. And then you have to attack the arguments anyways. So, I would say save yourself the Herculean task of the first two things and just attack the arguments and stop saying that people are new atheists, because it is a logical fallacy to do that. It contains all of these logical fallacies until you demonstrate that it doesn't. And then to do so, you would have to go through those two Herculean steps that I talked about. And if you're unwilling or unable to do those Herculean steps, then just save yourself the time and energy. Don't call people new atheists and just attack their arguments. If you want to believe that they're a new atheist, do so privately and independently, but don't write it down and don't put it in video format. Because it will just make us skeptical of your conclusions, because your statement about the new atheism is something full of logical fallacies. And if you're trying to convince us that you're right, the last thing you want to do is include a bunch of logical fallacies in your presentation. Unless and until you have a logically coherent argument, we have to stay skeptical of your conclusions. So, those are my thoughts on this meme. I dropped a spoon. That will be in the bloopers.